And here we are. Aaron Whitlow.
Brandon Spivey.
Oh Lord, don't pause. No dead air. We are the Mark Out Movie Podcast. And on today's episode, we are I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh jeez. Scaring me. This guy over here, he's full of something. All right, today we're gonna be discussing Spider-Man No Way Home, which we'll be revisiting. We've seen it before. This was my third time watching this movie. Brandon, how about yourself?
Third or fourth.
Okay.
I saw
Um,
it twice
but,
in theater, so yeah, it'd be
but
third. Third.
before we get into our actual discussion, I'd like to ask Brandon how his Friday went because he went to Zany's and he's seen a very special guest in Zany's.
Oh, it
Go ahead and
was
tell.
man, it was so energetic. Saw Marlon Wayans. But even before he came out, the other two comedians were very energetic. I have no idea who they are, but they were very energetic. Um, I mean, watching Marlon do stand up is, it felt like watching him unscripted for like an hour, like on a TV show or something. It was just, I've always been a big fan of his. So it was an honor to get to watch him. Uh, like, I mean, I can't even put it into words. It was just awesome, you know. And
Uh,
he's like, when he came out, can I keep it real with you? And he made a joke about Magic Johnson having AIDS. Can I keep it real? Why did
oh
it?
wow.
Why did God have to take COVID? Why couldn't he take Magic? Magic has had AIDS for how many years? 30 years. Chadwick Boseman too. He said, why couldn't he take Ant-Man? It's,
Oh yeah.
it's like that's the only superhero we got. And Blank Man don't count.
It was a jab at his brother. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, and oh man, he was just the way he talked about his parents. Oh man, it was just hilarious and emotional because he lost his mom during the pandemic. So he was talking about how he said goodbye to her, made it funny, but man, it was a lot of emotions there.
Oh wow.
But yeah, he made fun of one guy that had his arm around a chair like it was his date, like three times. It's like the guy wouldn't take his arm off the chair. So it's just, I don't know. It was hilarious.
That's pretty cool. That's awesome though. I've never. The only comedians I've ever seen was two Nashville comedians. One, they're very funny. Jamal Gardner and his name is what's his name? That one's name is Pryor, DJ Pryor, I think. Something Pryor, something like that. But they were very funny. Jamal was the funniest. He was actually pretty hilarious. Um, and he was funny after a host of other people that were not funny. So he came in and kind of brought the house down. But yeah. Oh, and I seen Sinbad live, which it wasn't what I expected. I love Sinbad, but it wasn't. It probably wasn't as memorable as Marlon Wayans. So, but
Yeah,
I've always liked Marlon. I like all the Wayne brothers. So,
he got on a stool right in front of me and my guest Tiffany, uh, which was a birthday gift from her. And he got on the stool. He put the microphone between his legs and said, "Lick it." Just, but he was talking about Hollywood. Look, I love your expression. Just right in front of us. I mean, it was just, oh my God. Never experienced anything like that. So I can only imagine what Richard Pryor was like, or Eddie Murphy, or, live like that. I mean, I just, I don't put Marlon up there with those guys, but growing up with Marlon, man, I just loved it. And he trashed his movies. I mean, he made fun of a lot of people, but he made fun of himself too. So
that's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Uh, well, we'll move on to real quick, briefly what we watched. I'd like to kick it off with the movie I watched. Um, I watched Orphan First Kill, and I tell you,
What are
at
you gonna say?
first, at first I hated it. At first I was like, it's just like rehash of what we already know essentially. But then that twist happens, and I was like, okay, all
Yeah,
right, now this is different territory. But then it gets it. But also the D agent is very jarring. It wasn't really good. The agent, but the story was fun though. I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it. What do you think about it?
I like the setup with her in the mental institution, but once you get past that, it does play out like any evil child, even though she's not a child, but that subgenre plays out like that until the twist. And I thought the twist was great. It it brought a lot of energy to the movie and made it different. So, but after that point, you know this is a prequel, so you know how it's going to play out eventually. The only bad thing about it was the end with the father. That he, I don't want to spoil anything, but he's the only redeemable character in the movie.
Also, Julia Stiles. This is a great. It's good seeing her again.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
it's I was like,
did
oh,
she
my wife.
play like in a similar movie, like the Omen remake or something?
I think she did. Yeah. Uh, I hadn't seen her in years. I immediately think of 10 Things I Hate About You, and then Say the Last Dance. Those are the first movies I think of when I think of Julia Stiles.
Yeah, also
Uh,
yeah, I think of those and the Freddie Prince Jr. movie she did, Down to Yours, Down with You, or something, Down something.
but it was interesting, man. Uh, and then I took my granddaughter to see DC League of Super Pets or something,
Mm,
and I had a fun time with that movie. It was
I know.
very enjoyable. Let me see what Bilfer says. He says, hey, Bilfer." Uh,
Hello.
but yeah, it was very enjoyable. The I enjoyed a lot of the little you know shots at Marvel, like like I should call myself Iron Man. No, and he's like, I wish I would have got a magical hammer. And a lot of other, like, it's very adult. Like the
Yeah,
turtle, but they bleeped it out. It's just like I had fun with it. I love the cat. I absolutely love that cute serial killer cat. It was the cutest thing. I loved it. I loved that whole scene. It was very horror, and I just really enjoyed that scene. But no, I give it. I think I gave it 3.5 or 4 markouts on Letterbox. I give it around. I would say it rests around about 4 for me. I enjoyed it.
yeah, I thought it was a fun movie as well. South
South
Korean
Korea.
movie called. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I hated it. Oh, bro, no, I'm so sorry. I cannot agree with you on that one, Duffer. I absolutely. I just was tired after watching that movie, and I felt like a waste of time. I didn't like it. Although the action, it had great action, and it's great, you know, violence or whatever. But just I don't know. I don't like gimmicky movies, and this is a gimmick of a film with a lot of one takes. It works in some places. 1917, the one take thing worked to move the story along, and this it didn't. Also remind me of Hardcore Henry. Just and I didn't really care for that either. Just like I don't like gimmicks. Movies like that's a gimmick, man. In my opinion, it's just my opinion. Brandon hadn't seen it, so he can't give his opinion on it. Well, he can
No.
give his opinion on those type of movies. I
Well,
don't
if
know,
it's like
Brandon.
Hardcore Henry, I probably wouldn't like it. I didn't like that. Um, it was just too fast. It's like watching a video game, literally watching a video game, and it annoyed me. Uh, if it's like that, I probably wouldn't. Probably give me a headache if I'm
Uh,
honest.
What did you watch? You watch anything?
Well, I watched First Kill, Orphan First Kill, which I mean, we already talked about that. So I watched Beast last weekend, and I've heard some people, talk about it. It's got mixed reviews. I liked it. I thought it was fun. But I can understand why some people may not, because the tone is kind of all over the place. It's trying to be serious, but yeah, it's trying to be fun. It's like The Shallows meets Deep Blue Sea. It's all over the place. But I had fun with it. I thought it was an entertaining film. I love the line in it. I love Elba. Alba. It's Elba.
Elba.
I
Idris
usually get the
Elba.
last name right. Idris,
No, dude. Idris.
whatever. Mr. Elba.
Idris.
I like him in it. He's really good. I like the atmosphere of the movie. It was. It's not too bad. See, me and Bill for agreeing because I can't
But
comment on the other movie, so we're agreeing. But I thought it was entertaining, and I love those type of movies anyway. That's my genre. So, then I watched not Bones, Bodies.
Pounds
I loved it. I loved it. I think it's making fun of this generation. Just so I really loved it.
so
It's so
so
the
you
ending
like
is so stupid and kind of took me out of it. But I was like, makes sense for this generation. That would happen.
I, I would say this about A24. They make the most interesting films. It's just they're an odd duck, man. Um, but I do want to see uh, "Don't Worry, My Darling" or whatever the movie idea is. You know, it seems like an interesting little film, like a
Does
any
but
horror that takes place in the daylight. You know, huh?
I was just saying it does, but it's she lied about Shia LaBeouf saying she fired him when he's got proof that he quit. Um,
Dude, the director.
yeah, Olivia Wilde said she had to fire him to protect Florence, and I don't know. It's just she looks kind of stupid right now.
Ooh,
So
ooh.
she's
It might,
I think she's hurting her own movie. I don't know.
mhm.
A lot of people are saying they don't want to go see it now because another woman lied,
Uh-oh.
try to damage a man. So it's just I don't know. I'm gonna go see it for Florence though. So
I'm here for the pew. But all right. Well, we can get to what?
please
I'm
never
here
say that again.
for Spider-Man: No Way Home. This movie came out in 2021. This was our favorite film of 2021. Both Brandon and I, it was the top of our list. It is directed by John Watts, starring Tom Holland, Zendaya, Benedict Cumberbatch, Jacob Batalon, John Favreau, Jamie Foxx, Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, Benedict Wong, and let's not forget uh, Willem Dafoe is in this movie as well, killing it in every scene he's in. Uh, this movie is about Spider-Man trying to. I'm gonna just tell you my synopsis of it. It's about Spider-Man, Tom Holland trying to make the world forget that Mysterio out of him as Spider-Man, but he messes with the formula of the spell cast by Doctor Strange, and instead of making people forget, he made those that know who he is come into this reality. And that's when we get a multiverse of madness. No, we should have got that. But this is fun. This is a better movie than Multiverse of Madness. Oh man, you ready? Got the numbers?
I do. Such good numbers. 8.3 out of 10 on IMDb. It's got a 71% on Metacritic, 91% like it on Google. It's got a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes with a 98 audience score, and it is certified fresh.
All right. The answer Bill's question. No, I have not seen the Stallone film yet. I plan on watching it. I was gonna try to watch it today if possible. Um,
I'm
I'm
watching it
interested to
tomorrow.
see it. Are you kicking off Stallone week? Is that what that is?
No, I'm not, but I'm gonna watch it tomorrow night.
Zane, you got your voice messed up. You must have been laughing.
Yeah, since I got to Nashville, man, my throat was all messed up. I don't know.
You got the vid?
No, I do not.
Uh, uh, oh well, let me tell you. So this movie starts with pretty much the reveal that we got in Far From Home that Peter Parker is Spider Man. Also, the reveal that J.K. Simmons is in this movie, which is pretty awesome. I love that J.K. Simmons uh reprises role as J. Jonah Jameson rather. Um, and another thing, I realized I thought he was working for a studio. I think he's like a lone like podcaster or something. You know what I'm saying? Because like if you look at his studio, he had a green screen, but it looks like it's set up in his apartment. I
Yeah.
noticed that this time around. I didn't notice it last time. But yeah, yeah, we get J. Jonah Jameson, as J.K. Simmons and J. Jonah Jameson, and I love that. I just love this movie, man. Where do we start? What do you want to mention? What do you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, you gotta start. I mean, you gotta start.
Ooh, 12 times vid. No, bro. You should be like impervious to it now. Uh, you might have superpowers now. Give vids, but don't
Yeah,
get the vid.
superpowers. All right.
But
I think you gotta start where it's revealed that he's Spider Man, and he's going home, trying to get home, and Happy's there, and he's getting dumped, and he's so sad, and I this whole scene I love because you've got Tom Holland trying to cover up the windows, the blinds, uh, wanting to talk about them, their breakup, and it's been revealed that he's Spider Man. So I love this. I thought it was just comedy gold. I mean, I thought it was awesome. And
what did
then
you think about? What did you think about uh, the what was it? The Happy was. What do you think the boundaries were that Happy, you know, like crossed with?
I don't, I don't know because everything seemed so great when they went to London. you know, she was enjoying his. I think it was just a fling though for her, and as she said, it wasn't serious. It was serious to him. So I guess that would be the boundaries. He took it for something it wasn't.
Were you Rob in there? He probably said I love you, and she's like, oh, okay, I'm happy. I'm not there yet. You know, and that's what made it
If you were
awkward.
Iron Man, I would have been there, but you're not. You're his lackey.
This is true. This is true. But yeah, no, I love that whole thing where he's trying to deflect and get the problems off of him and on them, but at the same time, it's being revealed that he is Spider Man, and then this agency, which will come back to play in Miss Marvel, uh, pops up and like pretty much is investigating Spider Man, of Peter and everyone, and
Hmm.
and poor poor Ned doesn't know not to speak to the police. Don't speak to the police. Like they. I'm not saying this in real life. You might, if you need to talk to the police, talk to them. I don't know your life. Uh, but they weren't gonna snitch, right? And
Yeah.
Ned did snitch without knowing that he snitched. Like the dude pulled a Columbo and just was asking him questions. And he's like, so when did she tell you that he was Spider Man? No, it was me. I knew Spider Man before, you know,
Yeah.
I was just here. You know, he like, come on, Dad, bro, stop talking, homie.
I
You
mean,
know,
he
but
can't help himself though. He's that guy. He just so positive thinking and wants to help his buddy out so badly. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's
yeah,
naive to the whole situation. Every
See,
situation he gets in, he's really naive about.
he's very naive. Actually, I thought about that later on when it comes to him with the thing on his hand where he can make the portal.
Yeah,
Uh, he's doing the closing with the wrong hand. That's what it is. That's why it's not closing or doing anything because you're supposed to do it with the hand with the. I think you're supposed to do it with the hand that has the ring on it or whatever. And he's doing it with the wrong hand. That's why it wasn't working. So, uh, I thought about that. I thought about that in
you
hindsight.
did
Yeah.
thought
So I
about it.
noticed watching this third time. I noticed some things I didn't notice before. But yeah, man. So Tom and Zendaya, which now I have a little bit more, you know, Zendaya vibe going because I I, I watched Euphoria and she was like really great in the show. And so just seeing that she's downplaying herself here, and where she goes into very raw territory on that show, in Euphoria. But it didn't, you know, watching other films with these actors in it, it makes you respect them as actors because you think you can go on this and watch this as just a dumb comic book movie, but once you see these actors doing other things, like Tom Holland and that movie, what's it called with the devil? I forget what it's called, but he's very raw and gritty in there. Benedict Cumberbatch and the Way of the Dog. Uh, Zendaya, like I said, Euphoria. You know, these people they go on to be in other films, and we already know Willem Dafoe's a powerhouse. So, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah, he's been a tremendous actor. Oh God, I think I first saw him in the early '90s before Spider Man. So I mean, I don't remember the very first time I saw him, but he's a powerhouse. I mean, he's an Oscar caliber actor, and I feel like he has been for like 3 decades. So I mean, but for him to come back after all these years, oh man, this he's even better in the role today than he was early 2000s. Oh man, it's
uh,
just
yeah, early 2000. The first Spider-Man came out, I think 2001. I think came out some year 9/11 because they had to hold some production things for it because it had the Twin Towers in it, and and remember that time frame. People were very sensitive about seeing the Twin
yeah,
Towers in cinema because we wasn't there yet to see the towers. Now we got to a point where we're okay with seeing them again, which you know now we nostalgically remember the towers and life before 9/11. You know, it's just for us who lived during that thing. It's just it's different for especially for this other generation that grew up post 9/11.
yeah,
Don't really, it's like us talking about 9/11 um, is the equivalent of our parents talking about like Kennedy being assassinated or talking about Pearl Harbor or
yeah.
not your parents but grandparents whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mm,
just something that for us who lived through it is different. So we show. I think I might be wrong, but I think that those that went through that time frame show more respect towards that day than a lot of other people. I don't know why I got there, but yeah, the reason why I got there is because I remember in the first promotional stuff with Toby, there's a scene where he stuck a helicopter between the Twin Towers, and they had to digitally remove it. So I believe the first one came out 2001. But yeah, no. But to your point, I think Willem, he just he was already he was one of the best things about the first Spider-Man movie with Toby. Um, and in this, he's like one of the best things about this movie. Just like
yeah,
he just steals every scene that he's in. Um, in
and
my
well, I mean, I think well, not the guy playing the lizard. He doesn't. I mean, he doesn't do all that much. And I have a problem with the CGI with him. I didn't at the
okay.
first couple times watching it, Watching it Wednesday night, I was like, yeah, I can. It don't look as good as I thought it did. But I think everything else is great. I love the Sandman more. I think his look is better in No Way Home. I
Hmm.
think Electro is much better. Jamie Foxx would probably agree, 100% too. I know. I just thought all the villains stepped up their game, except for the lizard. He was he was just okay. I mean, you know,
What you think about what you think about the principal or the teacher, Mr. Harrington, and Mr. Dale, which is J.D. Smooth, Martin Short is Mr. Harrington, and Hannibal Buress is Coach Wilson, and how Coach Wilson is like a conspiracy theorist who believes
yeah.
that Mysterio was right, and he doesn't mind saying it to Peter. He tells him that Mysterious is right. You're a murderer.
Well, I mean, well, at least he's straight up with him about it. Most people wouldn't be, so it's just like, but I don't know. I mean, I felt a little awkward at
Mhm.
first, like, and it really didn't go anywhere. Was he even in the movie the rest of the way? I don't remember.
No, it's pretty much they were only in the school part, and then that's it. Uh,
But I mean, I just felt awkward. That whole thing felt a little. I felt like Peter in that moment. This is awkward. It's just like this whole thing's awkward. I just want to go to class.
um, Now I remember in theaters when we watched it, people marked out uh, for Matt Murdock, Charlie Cox, his
Yeah,
popping up. Um, it's it still was a great moment for me just to see him again. And it's like, and he's playing. He's Daredevil. He's Daredevil. Uh,
Daredevil.
and and I love that. Oh man, I just love that. I love that. What? I just seen a picture of. I just seen a picture of Benedict Cumberbatch with a girl on his arms, and I'm wondering because she looks very young. I wonder if his wife is a young girl that used to be on the Disney movie. But okay, I digress. I just seen a picture that like on my laptop here, on my little thing. But all right, but no, uh, let's go ahead and mention these villains because that's when the party starts to, as Jr. says, business picked up.
Yeah.
Uh, we got to talk about Doc Ock. First of
Mm,
all,
he's great.
I love, yeah. Now I love, I, I always loved Spider-Man 2 over Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man movie. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't think sacrilegious to say it because I think that it was great. The version was great, but I just love the villain. I love Doc Ock more as a villain, and I thought that it felt more like a Raimi type of film. Um, and so, but yeah, I love Otto Octavius and him popping up again. Who pretty much I don't know if they did de aging or what, but he
Yeah, they
looks.
did. They did.
I thought it looked pretty good. I didn't think it looked bad. It didn't. I give this Marvel does a pretty good job with de aging. Um, it's very seamless to me, in my opinion. It's not
Was
jarring.
especially for the amount of time he was in it. Because I want to say he's in it the most of the villains. I think he's got a little bit more time than Defoe. And I think he's great. I think he's phenomenal. I think he's better than he was in Spider-Man 2. Actually, we'll get to it, but when he reunites with a certain Peter, it's just, oh man, it's just perfection. The way he delivers his line, and just just seeing him back and in this role, like William Defoe, seeing him back, it's how can they top themselves, and they somehow do, and they're just very seasoned, Oscar worthy actors, and you could tell though when they've been interviewed how much fun they had revisiting these characters 20 years later. I mean, it's incredible how good they were playing the character 20 something years after the fact.
You know what's crazy, man, is that um, we have essentially been going through. This is like the longest. Like it's such. It's a long build up to this film. You're thinking about, like you said, 20 plus years.
Hmm.
Going like first Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, uh, to like now, and Andrew Garfield and all that, just including all that into this to get to this point where in 2021 we were able to see all the Spider-Man and all the villains that we like, in a movie together, and
That was special. It really was special.
I wouldn't have thought I was able to see that. It's just
Oh no,
like, wow.
I mean, who would have ever thought? First off, who would ever thought Toby or Andrew would be back as Peter Parker, Spider Man? Ever. I mean, no one. Once Toby lost the role, that's it. That's no more. He's done. Same thing with Andrew. You just never thought they would be back in the role, and the fact that they were, and oh man, Andrew gets his redemption. Clearly, I mean, he just got his redemption.
Yeah,
But I
we're
loved how Toby played it too. It was just he didn't even need to say anything. Just seeing him on screen again, that's all we needed. That's all we wanted. Um, just waving, hello. It was just oh man, got goosebumps.
um
Really did.
now you mentioned you didn't like the makeup with Reese Ivans as Dr. Kirk Connors.
Yeah,
Uh, I want to talk about this guy though, this actor. Man, this man has come a long way in films. He was in like The Replacements as
yeah,
like the kid.
kicker.
He was in he's in Little Nicky as like the
Was he?
brother. Yeah, he's the one that the demon brothers that escaped from hell. Uh,
It's been a long
and
time
yeah,
since I've
and
seen that.
yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like he's come a long way in his in acting. He's currently in the House of the Dragon, the new Game of Thrones prequel show. Um, and just like, man, Notting Hill. He's one of it's like I love
Yeah,
Notting
I
Hill.
remember that.
But yeah, just it's just amazing how now out of all the villains, he was the weakest one. Honestly, I
Yeah,
didn't. I never liked Sandman. I never liked Sandman.
three.
Even in three, I didn't like him then, and I didn't. And they didn't bring back a Venom, which it would have been great. I would have loved to see. I would love to see Topher Grace as Venom. I would love to see that again. That would have been great. Even though people think it's weak, I thought it'd been great just to kind of bring that in. But we got the main villains that really mattered, I guess.
Yeah,
But no, nobody can hold a candle to Willem in this movie. And then but I loved how I loved how Tom Holland's Peter Parker like has no idea who these people are,
yeah,
and he's like, I can help you find your son. Just calm down for a while. Like you just kind of trying to, hey guys, let's not be killing people and stuff. But yeah, man. But oh, we get there now. You ready to go ahead and dive into the other Spideys popping up? Well, we got to talk about the pivotal scene that happened. So Spider-Man tries to uh, cure everybody,
yeah.
uh, but in the meantime, and I'm glossing over Doctor Strange being sent to like the desert or whatever. Uh, he was
But
like
see,
a non-factor in this movie.
yeah, I mean, but here's what I really liked about this movie when you're talking about supporting characters. Aunt May had a really good story arc because Peter didn't really want to help at first. He's like, "It's not my responsibility," and she was like, "Yes, it is. You help people." This is what you do. And it was all building to the classic line from all the other Spider-Man film that we haven't heard in this version. With great power comes great responsibility, and I love her story arc, and I haven't always been a big fan of her as Aunt May, you know.
Yeah,
But this movie, she nailed it, and I was like, yeah, it
no,
still gets me what happens, to her.
yeah,
And I was like, man, because going into this movie, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting her to have no real impact because she's had no real impact in the other two movies. I was like, but I don't know. I've always preferred the original actress over anybody, but I really, really enjoyed what Marissa Tomei did here.
I want to mention real quick uh, about that. It's not my responsibility line.
Yeah,
It's funny because you watched Tom Holland, not Tom Holland. You watched Andrew Garfield not too long ago. But you can tell me if it's in there. But I know that in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, when he's talking to Uncle Ben, he tells him about before. That's when he gives him the with great power comes great responsibility. When he's saying it's not my problem and things like that. And he then he when the guy was running out and he doesn't stop him and he said he tells the promoter, "Hey, it's not my problem," you know. Uh,
yeah,
so my point is, I wonder if Andrew Garfield's character had that "it's not my problem" type of thing in that film in the
yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man.
It
I don't
was.
remember. Okay,
Yeah, it just wasn't as infamous as the original
Toby,
Spider-Man. Yeah,
yeah, but yeah, I love that Tom's Peter Parker Tom. His name was "It's not my problem," because he's thinking they not killed my were hurt and then later killed my and so but she says no. It's like you said, she said no. That's what we do. We help people,
mm,
and in reality, these villains just needed to be helped. They all had an issue that needed to be solved.
yeah,
The reason why they became evil was because of uh, fell into a bed of ills, uh, uh, scientifically modified ills, or fell into a bed of sand and scientifically modified sand. I don't know, but they all became evil for some reason, and they needed to be. That if they had an issue solved, then they're no longer evil, and
mm,
so yeah. But Willem, oh, he played two different roles. He played that of the Goblin, the Green Goblin, and then he also played uh, that of
Norman.
uh, Norman. Yeah, and so when he was Norman, he was sympathetic. When he was the Goblin, he was actually scary. He's very scary. He's the main threat in this film, honestly.
Yeah, and he's always been like for fans casting perfect for the Joker, and I just felt like he was Joker in a Marvel movie. you know, Especially when he laughed. I mean, I just oh man, I got goosebumps. But I
When when
love
he, when he
him.
got when he get punched and he was just like smiling.
Yeah, I just I loved everything about him in this movie. Whether he was Norman or whether he was the Goblin, he brought the energy up no matter what he was doing, and I gotta say it, man, he's one of the best villains in the MCU, and he's
I
only
agree.
really had one movie. He's been in one movie,
And he's not technically MCU villain. Yeah,
not
but now he is.
technically, but
Now he is. But now he is. Like honestly, we did the best villain. He's the best villain thus far in the MCU, other than Thanos, because he's he's mad. He's just
yeah,
maniacal.
yeah. I
Uh,
mean, I would say as far as entertaining value goes, I would give it to Defoe, give it to the Goblin over Thanos. You know,
yeah, I
entertainment
agree.
wise. But yeah, I guess we're at the point where we get to meet the other two Spider-Men.
Yeah. So Ned, who has the ring on, the sorcerer ring, he says, "I just wish I could see Peter again." And
Yeah,
he opens the portal, and in the distance we see Spider Man, and they call Peter, and then he turns around and runs and up jumps in the portal, and it's Andrew, and I'm like, oh yes, I loved it, like I loved it, man. Yeah, just like it's crazy how excited I was for that. See, and I've seen it before. I was just excited in this whole scene
yeah,
with
yeah,
him crawling on the wall and getting the cobweb, and then like they do it again, and it's like it's just and they say I'm just a normal guy, but we mark out because we know it's Toby.
yeah,
Uh, and the grandmother, the she like kind of waves like because he's Toby. You can't help but to love Toby, right?
yeah. I mean, it's. I think her reaction was what they felt the audience's reaction was going to be. Oh my god, I can't believe it! You know, because I mean,
She was a fan. She was us then, right?
yeah, I mean, yeah, we were excited for Andrew. I mean, just the way he played it too. He played it different than the Amazing Spider-Man, which I loved that he played it different. He was more fun, more sympathetic in this. But when you see Toby, you just like I said, he didn't even have to say a word. Just seeing his presence, you just couldn't believe it. You were so excited just to see him again. And I love the fact they let Andrew really shine, and Toby kind of took a back seat because he really didn't need to do anything, just needed to be there. So I really love that, and Andrew just he gets redemption,
We
and
we got to talk about that. Like, so we know that Aunt May dies,
yeah,
and uh, and Peter goes to a dark place, but Andrew's Peter, uh, tells him, "Man, I wanted to stop you from going where I went, essentially." Because he
yeah,
said he stopped pulling. He said he stopped pulling punches, and he got vengeful and got ugly,
mm,
spiteful, and just and the way the emotion in Andrew Garfield's face is just heartbreaking because he that's his biggest regret is that he couldn't save Gwen, uh, and uh, and that like as you mentioned the first time we talked about this movie back on the podcast, his redemptive arc was also very beautiful. I'm glad that he got a redemption. He got a character arc that he needed uh, with
mm,
uh,
yeah,
with MJ. So
yeah. He definitely needed it, and it. I mean, I loved how they played it too. Like she was like, "Are you okay?" Because she's like, "I don't know. You're about to cry and you're tearing up here. What?" But it was a shared moment between him and the audience, you know, and it was just beautiful. It really was, and I never really been a big fan of Andrew Garfield, his Spider Man. But even I was tearing up. So, I mean, whether you were a big fan of his or not, he won you over in No Way Home. And I mean, that simple. Uh, and even every time we go back and watch it, even today, I mean, I still get emotional with that scene, and
mhm.
especially his expression. It's like I did it. I can breathe again. You know, I got my redemption. And it was just a beautiful moment.
And also we gotta mention Toby. So Toby, his Spider Man, I guess in this time frame, this is the same. This is Toby Maguire as Spider Man after Spider Man 1, 2, and 3 has happened, and he has lived life.
Hmm.
Apparently, MJ isn't really together no more. Is what it sounds like to me. Uh,
It says they're
uh,
making it work, so I don't know what that really means. I think it could possibly mean they do have a kid together and making it work by being co-parents.
hmm.
It could be like Into the Spider Verse where they were divorced
Hmm.
in that movie. I don't know. I mean, he says they're making it work, so I don't really know what he means by that.
But he was like, he's a. Also, I love that they brought back up his back injury. Uh,
Yeah, I love that
and
too.
they brought that back, and they the elephant in the room with his webs, his organic webs.
Yeah.
You know, I love just like who Brandon. Who would have thought we'll see a movie with these guys and like all sharing the screen together, talking, and it's Spider Man's talking to each other, man. And then on like you said, on top of that, you have their interaction with their villains, not only their villains but others' villains. And
Hmm.
so it's like it's such a magical movie, man. It's crazy. Like I love that. Like you mentioned it before when we first started. How Doc Ock and Toby had their reunion,
Yeah.
and it's almost like old friends seeing each other again. It
Yeah.
wasn't like a villain because Doc has been cured, and so he's seeing his old friend, his pupil, essentially,
Hmm.
uh, as a grown up. He's just pleased to see what he turned into, what he became, and I love that, man.
Yeah. It was like they have a special bond. I mean, and it was a good moment. It really was. Now, I actually thought he might have had one with Norman as well, but they just kind of looked at each other after the fact. Norman stabbed him in the back, you know, which was a big moment in the movie. I mean, I don't
You
know.
like don't kill Toby, don't kill Toby.
I gasped. I was like, "Oh God, no!" They bring him back to kill him. Really? Oh, I was getting angry. I was so upset. I was like, he's gonna die. He's gonna die. They brought Toby back, and he's gonna die.
The state has issued
Oh,
a shelter-in-place
whoa! Let me take that. There we go. It's
What's going
playing
on
on
over there?
my it's playing the Spider-Man trailer on my iPad. But but yeah, man, it's just like that scene where yeah, like where Toby does the bigger thing and stops uh Tom from stabbing Norman.
Yeah,
Stops him and just that.
that was a big moment.
Yeah, he's like no. He's just the look in his eyes like no, don't do it, don't do
And,
that.
and I loved it because it wasn't about the history he has with the Osbournes or anything. He just didn't want him to make the same mistake he made. You know, and, but there is the history with the Osbournes as well. It's like I just wish that they would have played a little bit more with that. Like I wish that Norman would have asked about Harry. You know how he turned out, and which would have been a good scene. I had to kill him like I killed you, but
Man,
actually, I don't
it's
think. No, I think Harry actually died in saving Peter, if I'm
yeah.
not mistaken, in the third movie. But yeah, but I love the whole scene with they're talking about the best friends turning on him. And
Mhm.
Ned's like, "I promise I won't turn on you." I was
uh,
like, it's coming though. In the
yeah,
new trilogy, he's gonna turn, and it makes sense now. He won't even know who he is.
yeah. It's like man, let me. All right, we go there now. So the end of this movie, the only way that Spider-Man gets to stop all these people coming into this universe is by having everyone forget who he is, and that includes MJ, it includes Ned, it includes Doctor Strange, it
Yeah,
includes every single person knowing who he is to forget him, and he's also sending everybody back to their accurate universes at the time that they left. Uh, somebody on YouTube said, "Well, they're just sending them back to die because if they took them right before they about to die, then they just going to be going back and being murdered like then." Although it'll be great, and it spawns different possibilities if now those movies has changed, the ending has changed.
yeah,
Where Norman Osborn isn't killed by his glider. That he's alive and he's no longer a villain or Sandman or wherever else. But I don't know, man. Although Doc Ock was transformed before he died, so it's like he's back to being who he was.
Yeah.
Like
Uh,
ultimately, he changed himself. So
yeah. I mean, I don't know how that would play out. I would say they wouldn't be killed though. It would seem kind of pointless to change
but
them.
it opens up possibilities, though,
It
Brandon.
does
If you
open up possibilities, and it's why I think you're actually going to get a Spider-Man 4 and Amazing Spider-Man 3. We're going to find out what actually happened when they come back. You just can't leave it like it is. We got to know. And the
yeah,
audience wants to know. The audience wants these movies. So
yeah,
the
the audience
only
wants
bad
like
thing is it won't be Marvel. It'll be Sony.
yeah. And if anything, yeah, it puts another feather in the cap of Sony, where Sony's like, well, we can keep this thing riding much further. Like they are not relinquishing the rights of Spider-Man anytime soon. That is their cash cow. So Venom is second, but
But
they like it's their comics guys.
they don't know how
But
to make a comic book movie.
they don't. They need Marvel. They need
Yeah.
Marvel because when they do it on their own, it falls short.
I mean, even with the Venom movies, even if you do like them, you have to admit that they're not like Marvel. And I like
No.
them, but there's something missing. And I don't want to even get on Morbius. It's on
I
another level.
still haven't watched it. But uh, yeah. So all right. So at the end they forget. Uh, but this movie you could have revealed has been a very long origin story for Spider-Man, for
Yeah.
him to become Spider-Man that is in the comics that the Spider-Man that we know. And so, oh wow, I enjoyed the movie, man. What else?
It was
Anything else
great.
you want to mention?
What's that?
Anything else you want to mention?
Oh, I just want to briefly talk about, when he's in the diner, with MJ, and he's got the letter because she's telling him before she forgets to remind me, do whatever you got to do, and he chooses not to do it. Why do you think he chose not to do it?
I don't think because he saw the scar on her neck or something, so he remembers that her knowing who he is got her in harm's way, and he doesn't want her to be in harm's way. He
Yeah,
doesn't want to save his friends the pain from knowing who he is. But I think that it's fate that they find out who he is, and so in the next one they're gonna find out somehow or another who he is, unless like it's not believable that he just will stay away from them
no,
completely.
I mean, but I am curious to see where they go with the story. If they are going to do the Sinister Six storyline. Also, that one of the end credit scenes was Venom. He gets transferred back into the Sonyverse, but there's a
Yeah,
little bit of him left here in the MCU. So I think he's going to be one of the villains in one of the next Spider-Man films. In Tom's, I don't know who's going to play him, but it'd be. I'm curious to see where they go with that.
all right. Well, ready to give our marks again?
Yeah, go ahead.
Ain't nothing changed for me. This is a 5 markouts out of 5 type of movie for me. I don't see nothing wrong with it. It doesn't. I, I I felt entertained. I felt uh, I loved everything about this movie. It's like one of the best Marvel films slash Sony films out there. So yeah,
Yeah, 5 markouts. Uh, is this what this is in phase four? So this is the best thing to come out of phase four. Easily the best. Um, I, like it's left me wanting to know more. Not really about the MCU. I don't really care. I hate to say I don't care, but when you compare it
you
to this
don't think?
movie, I don't care what the rest of the MCU is doing, but I am so looking forward to see what's next for Spider-Man. Like that's what this movie's left me. Like I don't care about the rest, just give me more Spider-Man. That's where
Yeah,
I'm at. But yeah, 5 markouts easily. I do think it is one of the best MCU films, and I think
uh,
he's moved up some notches. Is becoming the best MCU character.
I agree. It'd be a travesty if they don't continue this
Yeah.
character in some way, shape, or form. Uh, yeah. So that so next week we are gonna be visiting Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Uh, we're there now. We're almost done with all the Marvel stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's only taken about a year.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to scroll up here just to be sure. So what we didn't watch was the Groot stuff, which is fine. If Brandon wants to watch it, you can. They are like short. They're like 6 minutes long each episode, but it's not necessary. Um, but yeah. So after Multiverse of Madness, we get into Hawkeye, then Moon Knight, then She-Hulk, then Miss Marvel, and we're done. And
Well,
and then
Thor
we get it.
will be out too by then.
Yeah, Thor. I forgot about that. Thor will probably fall. I'll tell you whenever it lands. It lands sometime soon. I guess early September. It's coming out on Disney
Yeah.
Plus.
Then we'll be done.
Then we'd be done. But yeah,
Well, then of course, Wakanda Forever is going to be coming out. So
we'll revisit. We'll talk about it when it does. But for those that don't know, our Halloween feature this year is going to be Friday 13th.
I
I
hope
say
so.
that.
I hope so.
Yeah. If not, then maybe Child's Play. But you ain't there yet, are you?
I'm not there yet. No, I
No,
have
it's Friday.
Child's Play. You talking the films or you talking the show?
Film and the show.
Oh, I got the films. I don't have the show.
Yeah. Well, maybe Friday 13th. Then. But yeah,
I
because
would
I know
hope
that
it would be
the new
since that's what was promised.
yeah, that's fine. I know the new series is coming out in October. The new season 2 of Chucky. Um, but yeah, no, I loved it. We'll be doing Friday 13th because it's promised. I'm a man of my word. We're gonna watch all the Friday 13th. It's like 12 of them.
Listen to his voice, like, oh man, I don't want to do this. Hey, guess what? I didn't want to revisit every Halloween film either, but I did.
That's a fair point, brother. Fair point. Well, all right. Anything else you want to say to the people there, Brando?
Oh yeah. If you like this episode, you please like, share, and of course, as always, subscribe to our channel. We love you. We appreciate everybody that subscribed last week. A lot of people subscribed last week. It was our most viewed episode in 10 months.
Yes. And we
Aaron
thank
said
you.
this because of RRR. I'm going to give a little Elvis. Elvis got the billing on
Top
that.
Ellen.
Yeah, I was shocked you put Elvis at first. I was like, what's he doing?
Well,
But
because
that's probably RRR. You said that's the newest movie and it's big, so
yeah, but Elvis is also big. You know, you can't. The King's always going to be big. But yeah, like it, share, subscribe, comment, comment on our YouTube channel.
but we
On what
both
you
know people didn't tune in for Eternals.
nobody wants to see the Eternals. Nobody's there for that. Only Icarus. If it's called Icarus, then maybe. But all right. Well, we will be back, God willing, next week to mark out with you again, Aaron Whitlow.
Brandon Spivey.
And we thank you for marking out with us here on the Markout Movie Podcast. Peace.